Welcome back. In February, we interviewed state, local, and city leaders about the upcoming census and its wide-ranging implications on the North Metro and all of Minnesota. And then everything changed. I caught up this week with one city councilman who had worked very hard to get out the word about the census.
Dean, last time we talked, it was kind of looking ahead at something that local leaders like you and folks on the county level and certainly the state level were looking at getting the word out about the census, and then it all kind of changed just like everything else. Is that kind of a fair statement?
There was a ton of activity that was planned right before the April 1st, National Census Day, and for Census Day, and of course, COVID hit, and all of those plans were canceled. I would say also, equally importantly, there's a lot of delays in terms of what people can and can't do. So, for example, at Circle Pines, we were door knocking on apartment buildings, telling them about the importance of the census because they are traditionally a hard to count community. And we had to back away from doing that. We did one of the 3 apartment complexes in our city. On a national basis, the enumerators were supposed to start going out in, I want to say mid-March is when they were going to start knocking on doors. And that's being pushed back to actually starting sometime in, I want to say August 11th.
Wow.
And continuing through October 31st.
Is that going to then delay the results or delay the findings, and then is that going to have an impact on decisions in terms of representation or decisions in terms of how many people actually live in Circle Pines or things like that? Is that going to push that back, and is that going to have longer lasting impacts than maybe it would have?
The date by which the census has, the field work has to be completed has already been pushed back. But the December 31st date is still where the Census Bureau has to hand the president the numbers and the apportionment of seats in the House of Representatives is still December 31st. Having said that, the Census Bureau is, I understand, asking the Congress to allow 4 additional months. And so I don't know where that is. I'm thinking, given that news just kind of sort of came out, they've begun to approach them to ask that question, but they haven't made a decision.
But is this in any part discouraging for you because of all the effort put forth?
Yes and no. We had a plan to, again, do door knocking and get out there and talk to people directly. We can't even have city council meetings where people can come in and we can talk to them in a city council meeting forum. So yes, that's discouraging, but there's other technologies and other things we're doing. For example, in our city, and I can only speak to what we're doing here. I know lots of cities are doing lots of different things, but we're sending a direct mailer from the mayor to all rentals in our city. And, it's not quite as good as somebody knocking on your door, a city council person, but having the mayor send a personalized letter to the homes that rent in our city, we're hoping actually has an impact. So one exciting thing is, remember I mentioned that the only way that we're going to be able to keep our 8th seat in the House of Representatives is if we do better than other states. Well, knock on wood, we are. And, I'm just praying that leads us to be able to keep our 8th seat again this census.
Goldberg encourages everyone who hasn't completed the form online to fill out the long form that should arrive in mailboxes very soon, or you can call the Census Bureau and offer the information over the telephone.